Hello friends, welcome to my channel Versatile. Today we are going to discuss on nomenclatures of internal combustion engine. Now in the nomenclature there are different parameters that we have to discuss. Like in the internal combustion engine, whether a petrol or diesel, there are different things which remains constant and accordingly that parameters are important for performance of the engine. Now, which are that parameter? Now, if you can see in this particular diagram, there are different components are there for this engine. Which are the components? Like this is a piston, this is called as connecting rod, this is called as crank, this is called as crankshaft, right? Then this particular portion is called as cylinder of the engine. This portion is called as crankcase of the engine, wherein crankshaft produces a rotating motion. Now, as we are aware that the purpose of internal combustion engine is to convert reciprocating motion of the piston into rotating motion of crankshaft. For that purpose, we are producing or we are using an internal combustion engine. Reciprocating motion of the piston is produced by burning of petrol and diesel in both the engine. Now we have to understand what are the different parameters are there which are given for engine, that is nomenclature of the engine. Now this port is called as, or this section is called as inlet manifolds, inlet port, and this is called as exhaust manifold or port in case of two-stroke engine. And in this inlet and exhaust manifold, there are mounted inlet and exhaust valves. This central device is called as spark plug in case of petrol engine, and it is called as fuel injector in case of diesel engine. Function of both are different. Now in the nomenclature, we have to understand different things. First, we have to understand what is mean by clearance volume, right? Clearance volume. Now, if you understand, this piston has a reciprocating motion which reciprocates inside the cylinder. This cylinder is having circular cross section in which piston is also a circular component which is having a reciprocating motion. This piston moves from bottom dead center to top dead center, and again from top dead center to bottom dead center. During that movement, that reciprocating motion is converted into rotating motion of the crankshaft, and then that crankshaft is connected to rear wheel through a gearbox system. Now, clearance volume means when piston is at top position, that is, that particular position is called as top dead center, and bottom position is called as bottom dead center, that is TDC and BDC. Now when piston is at top dead center, at that extreme position, whatever the volume of the cylinder is there above the piston, that volume is called as clearance volume, which is indicated by number of nomenclature, but we are going to indicate by V suffix C, that is called as clearance volume. Now next one is that we have to call that as second part, that is called as stroke volume or stroke of the piston, or we are indicating as stroke volume, which is indicated by V suffix S. Now what is mean by stroke volume? As we have said, piston travels from bottom dead center to top dead center, and again from top dead center to bottom dead center. This reciprocating motion between these two centers, the distance traveled by that particular piston between those two centers, it's called as stroke, right? And it is indicated by L. This distance is stroke, and that is called as stroke length, which is indicated in mm. We are talking about stroke volume. Whatever the volume available for reciprocating movement of the piston, that volume is called as stroke volume, and whatever volume above the piston when piston is at top dead center, that is called as clearance volume. Now from these two volumes, third thing we have to understand is that compression ratio. Compression ratio is how much volume is available for compression, that is indicated by one of the parameter that is called as compression ratio. Generally it is indicated by this compression ratio R can be indicated by uh, that is equal to compression ratio is equal to total volume, that is Vs plus Vc upon clearance volume. That is Vs plus Vc means stroke volume plus clearance volume, that can be also called as total volume divided by clearance volume, that is called as compression ratio. Now this compression ratio is different for petrol engine and different for diesel engine. Now what is that ratio, value of that ratio? Now you must have seen for petrol engine and for diesel engine, for producing the same brake power, the capacity of petrol engine and capacity of diesel engine is different. Now size of petrol engine is little bit smaller and size of diesel engine is little bit higher. Or in another things, for two wheelers generally petrol engine is used, and for transportation trucks a diesel engine is used. That means whenever more power is required or more power is need to be produced at that place, we use more compression ratio engine. More compression ratio means larger the size of the engine, smaller the compression ratio, smaller will be the size of the engine. Hence, for petrol engine, compression ratio is less than diesel engine. How much is that value? That compression ratio can be in between 9 to 14 for petrol engine. It can be varied by 1 to tolerance is there on lower value and for higher value. And for diesel engine, that compression ratio can be 16 to 24. Now these values are general value that can be varied by 1 to 2 on higher and lower end. But generally petrol engine has lower compression ratio and diesel engine is having higher compression ratio. That is because of the properties of petrol and diesel as a fuel, which is required for burning in that particular engine. Now next parameter that we have to understand is dead centers. Now TDC is called as top dead center and BDC is called as bottom dead center. That is, it indicates the position of the piston at bottom center PDC and position of the piston at top center is called as TDC, right? And accordingly we have indicated all these three parameters. Next parameter that we have to indicate is what is mean by bore, right? Bore is nothing but this cylinder is a hollow member. If you see from the top view, this cylinder is a hollow member of a circular cross section. Hence, this distance, internal diameter of the cylinder in which piston reciprocate is called as bore, which is indicated by diameter D, right? Then as we have discussed, stroke volume or stroke is indicated by length L. Hence, stroke volume can be founded out by pi by 4 into D square. That is area of the bore or area of the cylinder multiply by length of the stroke. This area into length is called as, or length of the stroke is called as stroke volume. So stroke volume is nothing but volume occupied by the piston during its motion from one center to another center. That can be founded out by pi by 4 D square into L, or that is area of the cylinder multiplied by stroke length, right? Then next thing we have to discuss is that engine is having two sections. One is inlet section and another one is exhaust section. Through inlet section, during suction stroke, inlet charge comes inside the engine. Through exhaust section or exhaust manifold, the after combustion charge goes outside of the engine. In inlet and exhaust manifolds, we mount inlet valve and exhaust valve, which is operated at a different time as per the need of the engine. That is called as, that is adjusted with the help of rotation of the crankshaft that is connected to camshaft, and then camshaft adjust the timing of inlet and exhaust valve opening. In the nomenclature, next one is the central device is called as spark plug in case of petrol engine, and in case of diesel engine that is called as a fuel injector. So this was about nomenclature of internal combustion engine, major nomenclature, clearance volume, stroke volume, compression ratio, bore, and then stroke volume, then inlet manifold, exhaust manifold, spark plug for petrol engine, fuel injector for diesel engine, then top dead center and bottom dead center. This was about nomenclature of IC engine. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe my versatile channel, and do watch my next video on internal combustion engine. Thank you very much.